This is my Nissan 350Z HR that I bought for just over £3,000 for our sports car challenge. And that is less than half of what these cars are usually worth. So did I make a bad purchase? So today I'm going to tell you why you need to buy one of these right now. So here it is, the 350Z. So I bought this for a sports car challenge. It was £3,500 sports cars.
Very cheap.
I managed to somehow find this for that price, and you had a Boxster.
I still don't understand how you got this.
No, neither do I.
It is so cheap for what it is.
The cheapest one of these for sale at the moment I've seen on Auto Trader that isn't crash damaged is like 8-9 grand.
Yeah, and it's not crash damaged.
No!
Not that we know of.
No, not that we know of. That is we'll get to that in a bit. But other than that, this is,
you know what?
I was expecting a rusty shell.
And yet somehow you've been driving it for 6 months. It works, it's good. It's not that modified.
It's not that modified. I haven't really done much, if I'm honest. I have left pretty much all I've done is maintenance bits, a couple of very small mods under the bonnet, MOT'd it, but other than that, it's just
and then driven it.
Just driven it. I've done probably 5,000 or 6,000 miles in this car, and it's just happy.
So for those that don't know, that's the thing that makes the difference this here. This bonnet bulge.
That is the bulge.
What does he mean?
Let me show you. Let me show you my bulge.
So that's different from last time.
Yes, I put these hoses on. On the standard car, on this hose, they have a resonator for the intake, which I think is actually meant to make things quieter.
Why? Stop that.
Cut that out.
Manufacturers, man, we want to hear that stuff. Come on.
Ideally, I would like to get a proper induction kit on this because I think it'd sound really, really good. But the factory airbox is fine for performance, just would like a little bit more noise.
But this is the most powerful engine they put in the 350Z, the really late engine.
So this is a VQ35HR.
The human resources department of the engine.
3.5 litres, HR stands for high revving, because this engine, it's 7,500 RPM. A 350Z doesn't feel like it should rev that high, but that's quite high for a relatively normal sports car. But difference between this and a sort of an earlier car is you have 2 throttle bodies, which means the engine bay
much better.
Looks nice and symmetrical. Early 350Zs.
I could talk for hours on how much I hate it.
Dog's dinner of an engine bay.
I'm number one 350Z engine bay hater. But the HR, lovely.
This is nice. It's GTR in nature.
He has vibes of GTR. I was going to say the same thing. And the hole that we cut, still proving effective. And then
so for reference on that, this car has probably been in a bump at some point in its life. Not officially, so no one went through the insurance. I reckon someone probably put it in a wall, put it in a hedge, did something, or someone hit them and they tried to fix it all themselves. So this bumper isn't originally from this car. As we can see, just on that corner there, that is orange paint under that bumper. This entire radiator support is different because we have 2 intakes. That is a proper hole. I should have had another hole there, but I didn't. Someone put the wrong part in. They're also very hard to find. So we got at it. We
made one. You know what? I reckon your next car won't have front end damage.
No. No.
Maybe we'll get to that in a bit.
Maybe we might hopefully get to that. I'm going to pray it doesn't have front end damage.
Oh, maybe.
It's such a good engine. It's not the best, it's not the most soulful sounding car, but it's a very, very good engine.
He's Japanese, he's efficient. He does what he says on the tin.
He does the job. Slightly American in nature.
Yeah.
So like, Americans are watching this going, hell, I got that in my Altima, Jesus. Future me here, and I've just cleaned the car because I'm putting it up for sale today. Now, if you are ever buying a used car, you should always use today's sponsor, Car Vertical.
And that's because every single day, hundreds of cars get crashed, but some of them get repaired and put back on the road in an attempt to hide their shady past. With a Car Vertical check, that's all right, because you can find out that dodgy history.
All you need is the car's number plate or the VIN, and then the Car Vertical report will tell you if that car has been crashed, stolen, or clocked.
Now, let's say you watching wanted to buy Will's 350Z. You could run a Car Vertical report, and it would tell you that it has green ticks for odometer, finance, and damage. So it's all good on that front. But it also has photos from when the car was previously seen for sale. If someone's modified it badly before and then fixed it afterwards, you might be able to see those historic photos and tell some things about the spec from that.
Now, this Porsche Panamera hybrid hasn't been so lucky because we've got yellow marks for finance and for damage. Plenty of warnings on that dash, and we're about to find out why. This has had a quite serious crash. Loads of the side glass is smashed, the doors are mashed up, the front wheel is missing, and look at that. That is hybrid stuff that I would not want to be getting involved with. Now, someone may try and fix this car, put it back on the road, and not tell you that it's ever been in a crash like this. But with the Car Vertical report and the VIN or the number plate, you can find out this shady past.
So, the next time you're looking to buy a used car, perhaps you're buying Will's 350Z. Make sure that you run a Car Vertical check to make sure that the price you pay for it matches its history.
And as an added bonus, Car Vertical are offering you guys 20% off when you use our code 2DC.
Exterior wise, is this the colour you'd go for if you could have any colour on the 350?
This probably isn't, but given the price. There's a nice blue.
Bienvenue blue.
My favourite 350Z car, and this is because my dad had one years ago, is the earlier 350Zs came in a metallic blue.
Yeah.
It's blue.
It's very blue
in nature. And then these HRs also came in a dark blue, dark metallic blue.
Yeah, that's nice.
Can't remember the name, but that's nice.
I like the Brickyard, I think is what it's called. It's an American colour. I don't know why I know that. Or the yellow, the Gran Turismo ones.
Gran Turismo, yeah.
That's cool.
Gran Turismo
That's
ones
a
are very
cool
cool
colour.
The Gran Turismo ones are worth a lot of money now.
Yeah.
These HR, if you don't know, you can spot them because of those headlights. They look different to the early ones. They've got these big Xenon there. And your bulge. If you spot the bulge, you know that guy's packing.
Just like it's a tale as old as time. Other exterior wise, you kept the standard wheels.
The wheels have stayed the same.
No aftermarket wheels.
No aftermarket wheels. It just has spaces which were on there before. New brakes that I did recently after my my run-in with an MO2 centre, I'd say. But stayed the same. It could probably do with coming down a bit lower.
Yeah,
I think.
But also, this is a complete usable ride height. When we took these cars for the video to Dartmoor, those were not great roads.
No, they weren't.
And yet it's fine. If this was lowered or on coilovers, you'd be having a tough time.
So this goes over speed bump, like the ones in the middle of the road. This glides straight over it. Little understray on the way past, but other nothing, no sump bashing. It's all usable and nice, and it's a nice size car.
So we drove it for the video, and then you've driven it for 6 months.
Yeah.
Nothing else has happened in that time.
No.
It's all happy.
Shortly after the trip, I got a trifecta of warning lights, which was to do with ABS. I changed possibly the easiest to change ever ABS sensor, hardest to find, easiest to change.
Lovely.
And then that was gone. That solved it.
Nice.
Other than like maintenance bits. But
And your tips at the exhaust at the rear. Also, you can tell that this is an actual daily because it's filthy.
it is disgusting. I was moaning at Ben earlier because he was getting footage of it, and I said, "Oh, don't do that. It's very dirty."
But it gets used. That's what it's for.
I use it all the time. I've probably done 5,000 or 6,000 miles. And my tips.
Your exhaust.
My
It does
tips.
still sound good. Sometimes when Will leaves, after he'll have it warmed up and it will sit here for a minute, so it's nice and warm. And then when he takes off down the road, I'm still here, and I go, I do quite like a 350Z noise. But he's a tuned trombone. You know what? He's a trombone with a composer.
With a pro behind the
He's
wheel.
not. Yeah, he's not just someone in year 6 mashing a trombone silly style.
It's not the Jurassic Park thing.
No. It's a tuned trombone.
The Scorpion exhaust, which is obviously what we put on in the video, that is from the Cat's back, so I still got standard Cats. I'm fully legal. There was an install problem I've had. The Scorpion exhaust fit nice, but this car has an aftermarket W brace. That is something that rusts off on standard cars. Fortunately, this has been changed. But at the moment, the exhaust, just when it's up to temperature, when it gets all big and strong, it goes, it's quite irritating. I might fix it, I might not.
So, we'll get on to why you may or may not fix it in a bit. But so perhaps that might be the next owner's problem.
Possibly Ben.
Oh, Ben
Ben
does say he wants it. Ben's not buying a car.
Not another one.
Another one?
Should we have a look inside?
Let's have a look inside. Coming inside the car, we've got my dirty floor mats
I was
and
going to
what
say
appears
we've
to be a
also
10 pence piece.
You've got a hold on. We've got a car vertical hoodie. We've got some bubble wrap. Oh, we've got some beans. Always good to have the beans in the
bag
back.
of beans.
Some gloves. No, socks.
They're gloves.
Oh, they're gloves.
They're
Sorry.
gloves.
And then what's this? A piece of paper. Is that your MOT pass?
Yep.
And there it is. A pass for the MOT. You know what? Oh, sorry. I thought that was it. Can we have a look at what's in the boot, please, quickly?
Oh, yes, sorry. Don't think any more of this. I'm not doing all the changes at the side of the road. I'm maybe a month after moving house, and some of this stuff still needs to come out and go into the garage. So this, don't know why it's here.
You know, if you ever need to do a roadside diff change,
Yeah,
diff oil
absolutely.
change, he's there for it.
This, to be fair, this is actually one of the issues with this car. It hasn't bothered me too much because I have the Range Rover, which was £4,000. If this was your only car,
Yeah.
you'd have some trouble.
Do you know what it is? It's just that guy.
If this wasn't here, you'd probably be okay. But he is quite structural, and maybe he's important, maybe. But it is annoying because when you want to put like a box here, you can't unless that box fits perfectly there. You can't have it.
But
it has to be quite flat here.
More importantly, the golf clubs still do fit.
They do fit.
Have you been golfing in this car?
Never. Well,
No.
I would never.
No.
I would never. Ben would.
Ben, mate, when
would.
you buy the car, you golf. Ben, perhaps you and your partner, we'll call them that,
Significant other.
Significant other could golf.
Ben, why don't you take a seat?
Do you know what, Ben? Let me take the camera. Maybe you just sit in the driver's seat. Talk to me about how does that feel?
It's a lovely place to be. Do you know what actually is good? This.
The knob, stubby knob.
The knob is lovely. Yeah, car. Don't know what you're going to say about this, really.
Oh, but are you going to buy it?
I'd like to.
How much? How much is your offer to Will?
I'll pay you what you're into it for.
All right, Ben. Maybe exit the car.
Now the inside of the car, again, like the boot, is one of the most frustrating. Maybe it's because I'm a large chap, maybe, but it's quite a small interior. If me and Edwin are in there,
It's tight.
It's not actually that dissimilar to sort of being in like an MX-5 or something.
Yeah.
It looks deceptively big. The seats look deceptively big, but you're sort of in there you know, all bent up like a pretzel and what such.
I'll tell you what though, driving position as well, lovely. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about with reviewing cars, but still, it feels nice to me. Not so nice, still will. Still hate this.
Nope, still hate that.
Still hate that.
That really needs to go. Can I show you some of the storage space in the 350Z? Sure. Do you want to see the glove box?
So hold on. That's for your 10p.
That isn't the glove box. There actually isn't a proper glove box. What we do have is this.
What is it with Japanese cars and doing this? MR2s and
I
things?
find that quite cool.
It's very cool.
But I've never, this pizza oven we have in the back, I've never used. We've got that one,
Yep.
and then we've got that one.
the letterbox, that's for letters. The Royal Mail delivers to here.
You've also got one.
Yep.
And then you've also got a 10-inch subwoofer behind your seat.
That's as you do. And is the sound system good?
No.
Oh, okay. So you lose the space and it sounds bad.
These cup holders, they're actually okay. They're in a good place. Driver's side, you're going to be hitting it with your knees.
But the inside is not really what this is about.
No, not really.
Shall we do what he's supposed to be doing?
I think we have a little drive.
Does this car still give you the fizz? Because would you like to break the news of what you're doing?
That's the problem. The fizz has been lost. I don't know where the fizz went.
The can's lost his fizz.
I lost the fizz. That is my problem. I do have a car for a very short amount of time, and then once it's out of my mind, it's kind of game over for the car.
Yeah.
But when I first had it, I loved it, and I still look at it now and I go, that's a great looking car, because you don't see that many of these anymore.
No, and also you have a connection to this car. Your dad had one, you always wanted one, right? It was something to tick off, and you've ticked it off now.
It's done. I've experienced it. I would maybe like to have done more mods to it. For you, this would drive you insane because you'd have a vision in your head and it would never end.
Yeah.
And you'd have this for probably 8 to 20 years.
I'd be trying to find LMGT4s day one.
Whereas for me, that's not as much of an issue for me. The one thing that has played on my mind for a while is twin turboing it.
Oh, that would be so cool.
Because this engine in particular, the HR, turbocharges ever so well. Turbochargers and a HR engine, they get on. They just get on well.
They're best mates.
They just get on. They've known each other for years and they really, really get on with it.
And what sort of power level? Because this is, what's the power in this standard now?
So this, well, we had it on the dyno after being tuned. It's about 300 horsepower, which is okay.
Yeah, right.
It's fine.
So this car made around 300 horsepower.
Yeah.
What would it do with a turbo without touching anything else on the engine?
Turbos comfortably 400, probably 500.
That's quite
This
nice.
car, 500 horsepower, rear-wheel drive, manual gearbox, a really good manual gearbox,
Yeah.
but the gearbox can take it.
The 350Z gearbox is kind of the guy now for putting gearboxes behind any engine swap. You use it, it's called a CD009, you put it in everything.
And that's part of the problem with these cars. This is why I was looking for one of these, somehow found this one cheap, but it's hard to find a good one.
Yeah.
A lot of people have either drifted it into a wall,
Yeah, they are horribly modified.
or it's rusted away.
Or-
Fortunately, this is none of those things.
The one other option, which is it's been locked in a garage, it has 3,000 miles, and someone goes, it's worth £74,000.
Which is this is why, title of this video, is why I think you should buy one. And that's not just because I might be selling this one. It really genuinely isn't. I've been thinking about this ever since I've owned this car, is that if you think of like an S14 or an S13 or even a Skyline, which this isn't quite on the same level,
It's going the same way.
those values have now, people looked at those at 3 or 4 grand and went, whoa.
They'll always be like that.
And then all of a sudden they're 15 grand, and then they're 20 grand, and they're 25 grand, and then you can't find a clean one, and it's impossible. You're buying a shell for 10 grand, 15 grand. I think these may go the same, not in the next year, maybe not in the next 2 years, but in the sort of next 5 to 10 years, I think these might go that way.
Yeah. And also, the other thing, we've worked out over the years, anything that was important to someone in their childhood becomes money. Sierra Cosworths, Escort Cosworths, they go up because the people that grew up around them go, I would really like to have one of those, money goes up. And 350Zs were everywhere in the early 2000s. Yeah. Every Need for Speed, every Fast and Furious. 350Z is there. He's the guy.
This is the first car you drive in Need for Speed Underground 2. It's dreadfully modified, although quite cool to us.
Yeah, I'd love to see
But
one.
that's why most of those cars look like that, is because, I did that, and I put a wide body on that in Need for Speed. I saw the car in Tokyo Drift, that was great. Gran Turismo, any game had a 350Z in it.
And
Loads of movies had a 350Z in it.
And not only that, they are also so incredibly good for modifications that it makes sense as a base on which to build something. For the same price now, the same price you paid for this, people are charging generally for Mark 1 MX-5s.
Yeah.
The same price as a Mark 1 MX-5, you can get a 350Z. And now, obviously, something to note, insurance, road tax, all that sort of stuff, MPG, that's not lost on us. Yeah. But as a base on which to build, for the same money, I know which one I'm going for.
As a fun weekend thing, and you've got some money to spend on it, also it's just
Also, could we get some?
let's have the full 7, shall we? I couldn't even get that to 7.5.
So the question that I like to ask when someone is selling a car, if you kept it, what would you have done to it?
As a bare minimum, I would have liked to have it sat a little bit lower, some different wheels so that they fill out the arches a little bit more. I'd actually probably make it louder.
I to be honest, I agree. This might be your most reserved sounding car you've ever had.
Yeah, and that might even be a factor for why I'm selling it. For me, sound is
It's a big thing.
crucial to me. And this, for me to use pretty much every day, is perfect because it's quiet. I can bung this in 6th now, 50 mile an hour, 40 mile an hour.
You get road noise and that's it.
It's a lot of road noise. But it's just quiet. But I could do with, I'm going to go with 25% extra noise.
Oh, dial 25 extra percent to the boosters.
More decibels, please.
Yeah.
And then it would make it a bit more of an event drive. That's the problem with this car. So obviously, I know I've already said I paid just over £3,000 for that. I have put a fair amount of money into it, into sort of bringing it up to spec, but I'm probably going to want a bit more than that. These cars are usually in the region of 6 to 10 grand for a HR like this. So I was very, very fortunate, found this one for 3, but that doesn't mean you can't get a 350Z for this money, or even less sometimes.
Yeah, when we were looking for the cars for the challenge, now Boxsters, I could find 2.7s, 2.5s easily for the money, and I just happened to get lucky with a 3.2. It's the same thing with the 350Z.
Yeah.
We were looking and we found there was that very badly modified one.
Really bad.
That was for £3,000 and it had an MOT and it had tax. Yeah. There are deals out there that do exist. You're just unlikely to find the big boy HR for the money. You know more about them, the early ones, they're not that dissimilar from this.
I think if you speak to anyone who's had a 350Z or driven both, they will tell you it's not necessarily worth paying the premium to get this version. I think it is, because it revs out more. I think it looks a bit better with the headlights and the bonnet bulge. But if you just want a 350Z that you can modify as a base, you might want to put that bonnet on it for whatever reason. You can get really, really cheap 350. There's a DE, which has about sort of 270, 280 horsepower, and they upped it a bit more to sort of 280, 290, and then you have these with about 300 or so. They're all very, very similar. Very, very similar. The mods are relatively interchangeable as well. So just get one. Just get a nice one. Do look underneath it though.
Yeah, I mean, you got incredibly lucky with the amount of rust on this.
One of my biggest worries when we went to go and get this car was that I was going to get underneath it and it would be...
And you'd be able to see me from the top side.
There would be daylight from the top. But this is a very, very clean car underneath. Somehow, all the arches, there's tiny bubbles on the rear arches.
It's just aero peppermint. It's nothing to worry about.
But I've seen some of these cars with arches that are barely...
The rust goes, it's like a good half metre of rust going up the rear arches. That's tough. That's tough to see.
Bad. It's a Japan special.
Yeah.
It's a Japan special.
Car killing rust is the biggest thing to look out for, but there are a few other common 350Z issues. All versions can burn oil for different reasons. Earlier rev-up cars can be worse for it, but HRs have a gallery gasket issue, which you'll spot from low oil pressure. Gearboxes are very strong, but if they're mistreated or not maintained, you can get crunches between shifts, so check for that. These cars are getting on for 20 years old, so cooling system parts are starting to wear out. Also, a recent clutch change is a nice to have because it can be very, very costly.
And another thing I do like about this car, obviously I'm an old man. I'm coming up to be an old man. But it's a good place to learn rear-wheel drive.
Yeah.
Because in the dry like this, you're not getting... Even though it's got 300 horsepower, it's quite a big car, it's quite planted, you're not getting yourself in a load of trouble.
No.
But in the wet, or if you went on a track day or a drift day, this is a really good place to learn. Yeah. That is where Ben drove this when we went on the skid pan, and he really, really liked it.
Yeah.
And he also really likes his car. So you know what? I'm gonna get into car salesman mode.
Let's get him in.
Let's just get him in the driver's seat. How do you feel about this one, sir? So have you been looking for one of these for long?
Oh, upwards of perhaps 20 minutes since I moved this to film the B-roll.
I'm gonna say you suit this.
Really?
This feels like you.
More than my Clio?
I know that if you listen to the podcast, the Cream podcast, the best podcast on planet Earth, you will know that Ben has been hankering over a Honda S2000. Now this is the same kind of era as that kind of car.
It's very nice.
Would you agree a little bit of extra noise wouldn't go amiss?
Yeah, I can't really hear it. Yeah, it needs a bit more. He's not purring enough for me.
You want it to be more GTR in nature.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now again, it won't ever get to GTR stage, but I do believe if GTR is kind of your dream car, this is. I'm not going to call it a starter. What's even earlier than this? Is like breakfast.
This is your orange juice before your cereal.
This is the dream before you've had breakfast. But it's close. You get the noise. The interior is kind of similar. Your steering wheel there, it moves entirely with the binnacle as well, which is quite nice. It feels quite driver focused.
I like this very much. This is nice. Also, my first experience of a rear-wheel drive car.
It was on the skid pad.
On the skid pad,
Yeah.
and this is the first time I've driven it on the road. So.
And you're not skidding it though. You're not.
No, I think I'll keep this one a bit.
I feel a bit different.
I think I'll keep your revs below 14,000 today and not break it again.
I did say this to Edwin before, which is why I wanted you to have a drive in it as well. I think for a younger person, someone who's just getting pheasant or something, that's like a young pheasant. Oh, it's very nice. It somehow sounds better in the passenger seat.
It pulls very well.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel, I don't know, this might sound a bit photo car journalist. It doesn't feel intimidating to drive as well. Because it's rear-wheel drive, so that immediately invokes some level of fear in myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, he just feels like a car, and when you put your foot down, it's car times 10. Not 10.
And it's just a Nissan.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to, I'm not saying you're buying this. I'm not saying I'm selling it to you. I'm saying if someone did buy it, if anyone who wants to have one of these, they are quite easy to work on. All the basic maintenance bits are very, very simple. It's just engine. There's no, oh, you need to plug in and do this, or there's a very special tool for that. I'm not saying rebuilding an engine's easy, but I did the gearbox fluid, I did the diff fluid, we've done the engine oil service. All of those bits are very, very simple. The brakes are very, very simple.
Sounds like you're trying to sell it to the audience.
No. I have said they can buy any of them. Let's have some beans.
A little bit of beans?
Give me the full beans. 7.5.
It's not slow.
But I am selling this car. I have decided to sell it. I think it's time for me to sell it. It's time for someone else to do the things that I've thought about doing. But there's a very good reason for that, and I'll show you. There it is.
So there it is. Well, replacement car.
You've all been fooled. New Ninky Nonk just dropped. Nope, same Ninky Nonk. The reason why I'm selling the 350 is because my head's been turned
Oh, by McGann.
by McGann. I've got a little French mistress.
Has popped up and you damaged though.
Yeah,
and
damaged.
You
Damaged,
said,
yeah. So
oui, monsieur.
this, you may have seen this in the Car Vertical on the main channel.
Yep.
When we did drove a McGann and an Alpha 147 GTA. This was bought from Copilot. It will be coming to the main channel somewhat soon. I've bought a load of parts to fix it. Hopefully it can be fixed. But this is the guy. Yeah, there's going to be people in the comments going, I can't believe you'd sell that Nissan rear-wheel drive thing for a French hatchback. But these are very, very good cars.
Yeah.
And I got this for a very good price, and not far off what that is. You'll find that out in the video. But I'm really looking forward to work. I'm actually already getting itchy feet. I'm already getting a bit, do I get rid of it?
Yeah.
Because it's actually been here for like 3 weeks or so, and I've got all the parts. We just haven't had the time to get to it. But
You
very,
just
very
haven't
soon.
touched it yet because you're putting money into something you haven't even got in return yet.
Once we get working on it, we'll be good.
But this is exciting. So sorry 350, but here's your replacement.
It is very disappointing if you're a Nissan, if I'm honest. French person coming in taking your place. But there it is, coming to the main channel very soon.
Do you want to do one last drive in your car before you put it up for sale?
I think so. So yes, selling the 350Z. I haven't had it very long, but this is me we're talking about. I'd never owned cars for that long. This has lasted quite long, actually, in comparison to some other cars. And I really, really have liked it. But again, I'm not quite like Edwin. Edwin can function with all those cars. I can't do it. I need to focus on one or two things at once. And I'm really, really looking forward to working on the McGann, but this is not the space, there's not the time. It needs to move on to someone else. So obviously, if you are interested in it, drop me a DM. Instagram is Will Chandler, without the E at the end. If it goes to one of you guys, great. I'm gonna list it for sale anyway. I think it's good value for what it is. It'll make it the cheapest HR available, and someone else can enjoy it. I've enjoyed it. My dad sat in this car the other day. He said, can I see the 350? And he sat in it and he said, this smells exactly like when I had mine. It's funny how cars can do that. My dad, even after not having one for 10 plus years, still got in it and still felt like he was at home. I finally owned a car that was on a list for me to buy, things that I wanted to own: the Need for Speed car, the Tokyo Drift car, the Gran Turismo car. I've owned it, it didn't disappoint, and I got it for really, really good money, and now I can move on to something else. So thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe. Plenty more to come on this channel, and we will see you in the next video.